up, YouTube? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Jasmine.
And I'm Reggie.
And this is another episode of Living Room Talk. And today we are specifically talking about vulnerability.
Get out them feelings.
Oh my gosh.
Get in your feelings.
Get in your feelings all the way in. And we're so excited to talk about this because we've been through it, we've gone through it, and we've talked about it multiple times in our relationship. So it's something near and dear to our hearts.
For sure, yeah. So vulnerability is very huge and very vital to relationships. And in order for relationships to thrive, you have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
This is how you build trust in your relationship. So me and Jasmine, we deal with, challenges when it comes to vulnerability because we have different reasons in our past why we actually have these challenges. For me, it's, pretty much being taught and being raised, to have tough skin, to, not wear your feelings on your sleeves and, just be tough, never show your feelings, never show your weaknesses. And while that is important, at the same time, if you learn to suppress your feelings too long, then it'll just build up in an unhealthy way. And then, you'll end up being used to, really holding back from what you share and being completely transparent with your significant other and a whole bunch of extra unhealthy situations.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for me specifically, I have been a very trusting person, like, for most of my life, like, almost to the point where I was, like, a pushover. So, like, someone would do something to me, and I'd always be like, oh, it's fine. And then, like, I'd be hurt for a second, and then trust them, like, in, like, 2 seconds. And so I think as I got older, and I experienced heartache from friendships that I've had for a long time, or, breakups, even things with Reggie and I that we dealt with in our own relationship, that caused me to kind of put a wall up, which is weird because, of course, like, my entire life, I was not used to having a wall up. I was like, all the emotions, all the feelings, all the time. Like, I cry in like 2 seconds. And my parents raised me to be that way. So I think as I got older and I experienced some heartache, unfortunately, it caused me to have a wall up, which, I think in our relationship, that caused some tension. And so we've had to, like, kind of chug our way through that. And that's kind of how this whole vulnerability between both of us kind of came about. Yeah,
for sure. And a big thing when she was talking about our situations that we dealt with, one thing that, became a challenge for me was I started finding myself having trust issues and having trouble being vulnerable, all because of the things that I did towards her. So for all the guys out there, mostly guys, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's, women that deal with this as well, but mostly for guys, a lot of guys out there, we talk about how we got trust issues and not trusting these females and stuff like that. And yes, like, there is females out there, that will give you a reason to not trust them. But some of it, most of it, is self-imposed. When we have those trust issues, it's self-imposed because we know what happens when you give someone a reason, not to trust you.
Yeah.
And we don't want that to be reflected back on us, or we don't want that same thing that we impose on someone else to happen to us. So we have trust issues.
Yeah, definitely. And just dealing with all of those issues, because of course we've all been hurt before. So unfortunately, we sometimes bring that into our relationship. But practically, how we show vulnerability, honestly, it takes a lot of work and a lot of prayer, I think, because a lot of times that's not, sometimes, I mean, for me, I feel like it's my natural reaction just because I'm a very emotional person. But for someone like him, he has to kind of fight and claw and pray his way through being vulnerable. And I think one way that we do that is just being open and honest with the other person and being like, hey, this is how I'm feeling. And from that, just being open and honest and not playing games and, being passive aggressive, it opens up that window to be like, okay, here are my feelings. And then that other person can kind of come back and be like, okay, yes, I understand your feelings. And then that causes dialogue, which builds trust, which just makes everything better.
Exactly. Trust is the key And the only way to build trust in your relationship is to be vulnerable. And it's not going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Especially if you dealt with things in the past. You have to build trust. You have to bring that wall down, and it's not going to be easy, but you do have to take the measures to do that. And like you said, it takes prayer. It takes communication. So communicating with your significant other, it's tough sometimes, because you don't want to get your feelings hurt. You don't want to sound dumb. You don't want to sound stupid. But trust me, if you're with the right one, it's all going to benefit you when you're vulnerable, when you have that wall down. You wanna be able to talk to your significant other about pretty much anything, about however you're feeling and when you're actually feeling that way. Another thing is being when you're being transparent in your relationship, it forces the other one to have to listen. So listening in your relationship and in your communication is very imperative. But what can you listen to if you're not vulnerable, if you're not being straightforward, if you're not being transparent?
Yeah, and speaking of listening, it is so important, I feel like, because I'm guilty of this. It's so important to listen without the intent of having a response right away. Because he knows I am such a person to get it done, figure it out, it's fine. And so when he's talking about something in my head, which is so bad, I'm already forming a response. I'm already forming a solution. And that's not always the answer. Sometimes you're just meant to be there to just listen, not have a solution, just be there for that person, be there for your significant other. And then that builds trust, and then it forms communication, and it creates a steady flow of, okay, I'm vulnerable. Okay, I trust you. I'm vulnerable. I trust you.
Exactly. So be vulnerable. That's so important. Being vulnerable, letting your feelings actually show, is very important. Society and mainstream would tell you be cold-hearted, don't show your feelings and stuff like that. But this is the opposite of what's going to bring a healthy life, a healthy relationship. Be vulnerable. That is important. And this is where you want to get to. You want to get to that place where you can be absolutely vulnerable with your significant other. So I think that pretty much wraps it up, when, talking about vulnerability and talking about being in your feelings.
Yeah, definitely. And feel free to dialogue with us. We'd love to see your comments down below about how you and your significant other show vulnerability towards each other. And for you single people out there, we got you. Feel free to comment down below and let us know how you show vulnerability to that friend, to that parent, to that brother, to that sister, whoever that person is for you. So we can't wait to see you back at the next one. Like, subscribe, comment. That was like a cheerleading. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we can't wait to see you in our next one. Bye.